I did receive calls from some journalists to verify incomplete forms provided by a State House official as evidence of services rendered towards repairs and maintenance. And despite my clarification, they still went ahead to quote these as valid documents of services rendered. And those copies of those incomplete forms you have in your press pack, you'll be able to peruse that. These forms, you'll see that they have the word approved at the corner, which is what was being used by State House to say that they have approved the services. That signature, I would like to clarify, ladies and gentlemen, belongs to the former State House Comptroller, that is Mr. Kinodhi Ambogwa, who is currently the AIE holder of the office of the third retired president. And those forms, or those requisitions, were not honored by the accounting officer, who is our accounting officer, that is the State House Comptroller. Our complete requisition forms, just for your note, contain signatures and approval notes from heads of department. It is therefore the position of the office of the third retired president that the government of the day has not undertaken nor facilitated any repairs, maintenance of any vehicles under this office, neither have they fueled any cars under this office. As I finalize on the issue raised in the matter by the government spokesperson, the office still awaits the confirmation and communication on why they blatantly refuse to renew contracts of two professional staff members, the administrator, Mr. George Karaoke, and Mrs. Kanze Dena Mararo, who is the director communication. There is also the issue of unceremonious withdrawal and intimidation of staff via phone calls at midnight. We have provided a list of the complete staff serving in the office of the retired third president, and would also like to clarify that the list that Mr. Mwaura presented in his statement had the wrong tally. Those members of staff that were there were 32 and not 33, when the Act provides for 34 members of staff. At this point, ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to present the official position of the office of the third retired president of the Republic of Kenya. On the issue of the office, before retirement and during his retirement, the former President Kenyatta has been sought to undertake various international roles, especially within the region, in his capacity as a former head of state. And among them was his appointment as a peace facilitator by the East African Community Heads of State during the 22nd Ordinary Meeting of East Africa Heads of State Summit that was held on the 22nd of July 2022 in Tanzania, Arusha. These engagements necessitated that the need to identify and establish a suitable office for the former president to enable him carry out these roles and provide an operational base for various cadre of staff. Now, with no response from State House and a lack of commitment to finalize on the issue of the office space, His Excellency, the former president, identified a suitable office space, as you can see where we are, and went ahead to fully furnish and equip it from his pocket. A formal letter was written to State House requesting valuation of the office that was identified by the former President Kenyatta as suitable for him to carry out his duties. However, the office did not receive a response on the issue, and instead, the communication that the office received was via message, text message, by the then in charge, Mr. John Makumi. And in his statement, he indicated the estimates of the property in question, where we are, and that is the office that was selected by the former president. In your communication pack or in your press kit, you will find the communication that alludes to this statement. To date, this office runs on the former president's goodwill as it waits upon action from State House. On the issue of vehicles, as indicated earlier, the former president is using vehicles given to him on a transitional basis. The office would like this to go on record that after transition, a conversation on the purchase of vehicles as required by the Act commenced between the two offices. That conversation I have made available for you also on the kit, and it notes that the identification of vehicles was done down to the color of the vehicle, and then the conversation froze. To date, no discussions have been revived. We don't know if the cars were purchased or not. On international trips, since retirement, the former President Uhuru Kenyatta has undertaken several official trips related to the roles and duties he has engaged in, and only 2 such trips have been honored. The trip to Ethiopia on matters concerning the peace process led by the African Union, and the one to Burundi that was the 11th Summit of the Heads of State and Government of the East African Community on the issues pertaining to the peace process in the Democratic Republic of. The office did submit other requests for facilitation of trips, but received no response. That too you'll find in your press pack. Now the budget is the fourth issue. Now this is actually the core issue that the office seeks to have addressed: budget allocation. In the year 2022-2023, financial year 2022-2023, Parliament allocated this office 655 million shillings. To date, the office can only confirm absorption of roughly 28 million shillings, spread across payment of allowances for domestic travel, as well as facilitation of the 2 trips that I mentioned earlier that were honored. That is approximately 4.4% of the total budget for that particular year. And this does not include the payment of salaries and medical insurance. The financial year 2023-2024 that ends in a few weeks, the budget allocation for this office was 503 million shillings. The year is ending without the office having any access to this allocation. The total amount for the 2 years that we have not had access to this approximately 1 billion Kenya shillings. We can confirm that salaries have been paid, as well as medical insurance, but we cannot allude to how much it is. Now, in the coming year, which is 2023